Hi, I'm Heyzeus, and this video is about crafting a number 1 lowest float skin, sponsored by swap.gg. More about them later in the video. So here we have the profile of a Chinese collector, Tangerine Citrus, or at least that's what Google translates as his name is. But as you can see, there are a few waifus here, relatively classy waifus as far as waifus go, and if we look into his inventory, you'll find this. And this, kids, is the number 1 lowest float Intergrail in the world. Now, this skin is the lowest float by a pretty comfortable margin. There's a big gap between it and its nearest competitor, and as it happens, the top 5 lowest float Intergrails out there are all in the hands of Chinese collectors, and as far as I'm concerned, it's about time that Australia stood up to China in this vital geopolitical area. We won't give in to defeatism when it comes to low float Intergrails, and this 0003 float, it's low, but it's not what you'd call insurmountable. One thing you can definitely be certain of is that given enough time, lower float Intergrails are going to be created, and I want to be the one to topple this skin. So you'll probably remember that back in the day, there was a guy with a real proclivity for crafting the number 1 lowest float skins. I'm not going to say who it is, but you can probably read between the burritos on this one, and his method of doing these trade-up contracts most of the time was pretty simple. Basically, he'd buy all the lowest float inputs available, stick them in a trade-up contract, and Bob's your uncle, you're now the proud owner of a number 1 lowest float skin. Now, I could totally do that for this trade-up. I could go and buy a bunch of the lowest float MP7 fades out there, and there are some really low float fades available, and then punch them into the trade-up, and we're good to go. Except, there's a bit of a problem here. You see, I can't really afford that. I don't get paid $75,000 per gambling plug like our old friend Mr. Burrito did. I don't do gambling plugs anyway, so this creates a bit of a financing issue. But as it happens, I have another option. You see, this is the structure of the Inferno 2018 collection, the collection we're interested in, with the various float ranges along the way. And each time we go through a tier of skins, if you're doing a trade-up contract, your float values, that's the wear condition of the gun for anyone who isn't familiar, are going to get reduced depending on the float range of the skin you've traded up for. And if we were to, say, trade up for a bunch of sawed-off brake lights and then trade those up into a bunch of MP7 fades, we can actually reduce the float values of the skins we started off with to 1/50th of what we started out with. So if we start out with a bunch of 0.01 industrial grade skins, well, that gets us down to 0.0002, which is enough for us to trade up for the lowest float Intergrail in the world. Now, we are going to face a couple of challenges along the way. First of all, we're going to need a fuckload of skins because we're going to fail a lot of trade ups in the process. So that's one downside to this method. On top of that, there's also a 50% chance of getting a set of dual Berettas instead of the Intergrail, and if that happens, I'm going to lose quite a lot of money. But either way, the key thing here is that it's all possible with normal skins that I can buy straight off the community market, provided I've got the patience. And because I can resell a lot of stuff along the way, it's hopefully going to be a bit more affordable. Now, it's not going to be profitable either. The only way I'm going to make money here is by hitting the Intergrail at the end, but overall, it's still going to be a bit easier to finance, and that's kind of the idea. Now, at this point, I should probably show you what this is actually going to look like in practice, rather than talking about this abstract shit. So, basically, I'm going to start off by doing trade-ups like this. 4 Glock high beams and 6 industrial grade train skins. I'm going to keep the average float at around about 0.01, and I'm just going to spam these things until I get the skins that I need. I've got my first 19 ready to go, so we'll run them in the background while I explain some things. So what I'm trying to get is the brake light. That's the skin with the low float that I'm after. Once I get 10 of those, I'm going to throw them into a trade-up contract to try and get an MP7 fade, at which point I'm going to try and stock up on 10 MP7 fades so I can trade up for the number 1 lowest float Intergrail, and that will only have a 50-50 chance of working out. Obviously, I could get the dual Berettas and get kind of destroyed, but hopefully not. Also, about the numbers here, because I'm only going to have a 1 in 3 chance of getting an MP7 fade from a trade up, so I'm going to need 300 or so sawed-off brake lights, and I only have a 14% chance of getting one of those from the industrial grade trade up. So to get those 300 brake lights, I'm going to need 8,500 Glock high beams and 13,000 or so industrial grade train skins, all with floats of around about 0.01 for that matter. Now, that's doable. All these skins have turnovers of about 1,000 units per day, so these are realistic numbers so long as you're willing to put in the time. However, once they get close to the end, I probably will go off and buy some low float MP7 fades just to speed things up. But either way, this is going to be a long-term project. It's not just going to be a one-off video. And anyway, I think that's the trade-ups done, and it's gone pretty well, all things considered. It looks like I've hit 12 of them, 4 brake lights as well with some really nice floats, so they'll be perfect. And in the meantime, I can sell off the other skins. I can probably even get a little bit of overpay on some of them because they've got such good floats, and that should get me most of my money back. But I've also got 4 really nice brake lights to start things off. So we'll set some new buy orders, and thus begins my journey for the #1 lowest float Intergrail. Oh, that sounded really fucking cheesy. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll keep you guys updated as this thing develops. Before I go, I'd just like to say a few quick words about swap.gg. Swap.gg is a trading site where you can quickly, easily, and safely trade your items, and at a much better rate than the Steam market, particularly if you stick swap.gg in your name. You'll only be paying a 5% commission if you do that, which is less than half of the commission on the Steam market. Now, because it's a trading site, the transactions are instant. You don't have to wait for someone to buy your item, it's just a couple of clicks and you're good to go. If the item you want has a trading hold, you can lock it down with the reserve system until it's ready to trade, and if you don't have any items to trade, not to worry. Cash in directly using PayPal, crypto, G2A or more and get a 15% bonus on your deposit. Links are in the description. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your gut. I'm Heyzeus. Thanks for watching. See ya.